All right, everybody. Here is episode 4 of the Land Cruiser podcast. So we're 4 episodes in, and just keeps getting better and better. Always have great guests. Don't get me wrong, and we'll continue to have great guests. But we have an icon guest on today. And before I give the full introduction, I've always loved Land Cruisers, and you can't go to YouTube and start looking at Land Cruisers without stumbling upon Jailbreak Overlander. And I've watched his stuff, and it inspired me, and I love Land Cruisers. So I started posting like comparison videos and what have you. And recently had the opportunity to meet Richie, who is Jailbreak Overlander, on both YouTube and Instagram. If you don't know that already, then get from under the rock you're under and go follow him on YouTube. You'll be thoroughly entertained, not just Land Cruiser stuff, adventures and just great storytelling, and on Instagram. But I had the opportunity to meet Richie, and sometimes you see somebody on YouTube and you're like, is it all a character? Is it all a put on? Is it all like, is it the real deal? And holy shit, Richie is the real deal. We wheeled in Southern Cal, so I spent some good time with him and hope to do some other adventures with him as well. And that's my guest today. So with no more further ado, Richie, welcome to the Land Cruiser podcast.
It's my pleasure to be here, brother. You asked me this when we were face to face in SoCal, and to be honest, I totally forgot about it because I've had my own shenanigans to deal with, but I had to make time for this, man. I told you, everybody else does videos about, they compare their Land Cruiser to something else. I'm like, this dude is comparing his Land Cruiser to his other Land Cruiser to his other Land Cruiser. I got to meet him, and I'm glad that I did, like I said before. So yeah. That truck that you brought to Cars and Coffee was insane. It was one of my favorite walk around videos. And as soon as I got home, I lost the footage. And then somehow stumbled upon it. I remember I hit you up and I'm like, dude, I found all your footage. So
thank God, because you took a lot. We spent some time. Yeah. And when you say comparing Land Cruisers, it's like comparing Kobe to Michael Jordan, or LeBron to Jordan, or Jordan, LeBron and Kobe, what have you. They're all GOATs, right? They're all great vehicles, and it's whatever you make of it. So much part support, and I've got pulled up on my screen your Green Monster. Is that the name you had for it, the Green Monster? Or just
my
Monster?
Ex-girlfriend actually named it because it's Boston. We have the Red Sox and the Green Monster. And as soon as she saw it, she said, oh my God, it's a military truck. It's a big Green Monster. It wasn't even when I got it, it was already built. And I said, I don't have to do anything to it. It's good to go. Let me just change a couple of small things and I'm good. And I ended up completely changing everything. Right down to the motor. I put a factory motor, supercharged. I can't leave well enough alone. But yeah, the Green Monster.
That's fun. Yeah, because if you hit a home run over your truck, then it's really a worthy home run, right?
Indeed.
It's not the lower part of it's not center field and right field. It's left.
I guess that truck is just sitting in a barn down in Alabama.
Oh, that's a shame.
He bought it just to keep it. He bought it just because because it was mine, I guess. It feels weird saying that, but whatever.
You sold it to a museum curator.
I guess.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know.
He's like, put it outside Graceland, let people pay tickets to come see it. That's too bad. That truck should be ripping it up, tearing it.
It did, though. I'll tell you what, it did. I mean, 100,000 miles, I put in a new motor. And then it did another 100,000, and I just ran out of stuff to do to it. Plus, the truck was really big, so getting in and out of it, and everybody knew the truck. That was the main problem. Yeah. I'd have dudes rolling up on me. No one would ever say, "Hey, Richie, I saw you on YouTube." They just walk up to you, and I'm thinking, am I going to get robbed? Is this guy one of those people that left a dirty comment because I didn't return an email? It got sketchy many, many times. Many, many times. So I figured it was time for something new. It happens.
No,
And
yeah, go for it.
the way that I roll, having numerous vehicles doesn't work for me because I'm never home. You know what I mean? I'm always on your side of the country. So having numerous trucks sitting on the Atlantic Ocean, the Atlantic will eat a Toyota. It just loves Japanese sheet metal. You know what I mean? It will just eat it, man. We get so much rock salt and everything else and such. You guys don't know about that. That's what I love about Cali.
That's why, California cars, yeah, there's something to be said because it's just, unless it's, right by the ocean, believe it or not, they can rust. I had a 60 series that the frame had just surface rust. I got rid of it with a wire wheel and hit it with some new, satin black undercoating, but made it look like new again. But it had it on one side, and I was like, yeah, because that Land Cruiser sat for 6 years by the Pacific Ocean in Cardiff by the sea, and that seawater just kept hitting one side, and it did surface rust. But yeah, rock salt is the worst.
It is, and plus with the new climate change and all this other stuff, if it rains out, they put rock salt down, and it just pisses me off. I hate the sand, man. Yeah. Let me ask, where did you get a King t-shirt with Made in USA on it?
Oh, dude. And you need to come down for this.
I will.
February, KOH, King of Hammers.
Oh, all right. I planned on coming back, and then everything went horribly wrong.
King, I know like how you like to get footage and stuff, like your head will be on a swivel. It's insane. Yeah,
you got some. I followed you the whole time. You got some kick-ass. You picked very well, in my opinion. You picked very well what you gave the camera lens to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Especially when you got so much to look at. I think you did very well. You were in the same ballpark that I would have been in, I think.
I walked down, it's called Hammertown. It's where all the shops set up and food.
Oh yeah, I've been.
Yeah. And I just did quick clips of like, here's this Ultra 4, here's this rig, here's that rig, not too much time on each one. I was surprised. It did get quite a lot of views, but it's several weekends, this show. So, you get your plot of land, and it's desert. It's tumbleweed. People go there in the weekend and wheel, and you disappear in it because it's so huge. It used to be World War II training, fighter jets, flying over, in the 60s and 70s, and then finally they stopped. But it was military land where they vast behind Big Bear, where we went to Rattlesnake.
That's where we got muddy as hell, right?
Yeah. So to the left, had we gone to the left instead of the right to go through the Big Bear trail, that's all just open land and crazy trails. So overnight it goes from tumbleweed to like 100,000 people city. It's insane.
That's
a lot of dust. Yeah, but you find your campsite and you set up and you just drive around, have fun, and you wheel. You could go wheel, and there's all levels to go wheel, but that's where I got the shirt. Yeah. So
that's a good story. See how good I am?
Yeah, you got a good eye. I'm surprised you caught that.
Are you seeing my my lighting going on and off?
Yeah.
How trippy is that, dude? Nothing here's flashing.
It's your exposure on your camera, but it's no big deal. It doesn't matter. We're mostly a podcast with some eye candy.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a new Razer Blade Pro 18 laptop that they came out with. It is insane. And first thing I did was break it right. I took Windows 11 out and put Windows 10 in, and they're like, you can't do that. Well, actually you can, Razer. So maybe you ought to hire me. I have to modify everything, dude. I can't help it. It's ridiculous. I'm getting too old for this, Jamie.
So I guess some people listening in might be like, wait a minute. Richie mentioned his truck sitting in a barn or just sitting idle somewhere else. So obviously, yes, it's sold last year. I remember it sold like instantly. I mean, you
6 minutes. I should have put it up. Yeah, apparently the price was wrong. I felt bad for what I charged, but I mean, I just put a brand new motor in it from the number 13 from Japan.
That's what I was going to say. You didn't sell an old tired rig.
No.
You sold a revitalized, all new parts, and man, if I
Jamie, I
knew it would
replaced the
sell
door
for that,
seals. Say it again.
if I knew it was going to sell for that, trust me, I would have bought it. And
I didn't know you, dude. And if I sold it to you, I would have gave you half of that anyways, because I'm stupid like that. You know what I mean?
But I'd say, like, man, anytime you come to the West Coast, here's the keys. Go have fun, So it'd still be your rig when you wanted it.
I do miss it, man. But the 4Runner is pretty badass. It's pretty serious. I wanted to build it so that there wasn't another one like it. And then our buddy Oleg is building the identical twin, which is a trip.
Yeah.
So
that'll be fun. I'm sure we'll do some videos with your 4Runner, his 4Runner, and I'll have to bring something capable that won't just get lost in the shadows with your guys.
Oh, come on, dude. You're 80. The 80 you took was the 80 will do it. Anything as far as we can build these things, an 80 on a 3-inch lift will do everything, no problem. Yeah. Might not do it as fast or flashy, but it'll do it, and it'll
crawl it. So on the Green Monster, you had 40s, and now let's share with everybody. I think I remember, and correct me if I'm wrong. I'm telling your story, but you were getting something worked on the 80, and you had a rental car, which was a 4Runner stock, and you were driving all around, and you were so used to the 80 over all the years, and just any truck you lift that high and you're on 40s, it's going to wander a bit on the road. If you're on your 4th drive shaft, and all of a sudden you're driving a stock car that's not a 1997, it's a 2018, 2019. You're like, oh, wait a minute, is this what it's supposed to feel like?
Heated seats.
And then you ended up, fast forward, you ended up taking one and morphing it into what the Green Monster is, into just a fully capable, insane beast mode 4Runner.
The 4Runner that I supercharged it. I put dual cases in it. I put a Trident triple shifter in it, and I put it on 37s, and I managed to get it even taller than the last time you saw it by several inches. It's pretty tall. But the 80 it's a whole different ball game. Solid front axle. It would just eat it. It just eats it, So
yeah, obviously solid front axle compared to the control arms. And I see Oleg, when I talked to him, when I saw him at Rodeo X Rigs, he's doing some crazy heavy duty system to
Marlin crawlers. He's putting in Marlin crawlers long travel. I have Total Chaos long travel. We have the same thing, just different manufacturers.
But is he custom making something where the metal is just mega thick?
Probably. Marlin Crawler sells a setup that you can. I did the same thing. You're basically reinforcing the frame by 100% in every single place that it could possibly break. Because when you make the suspension and the axles and the tires, 37s on a 4Runner is ridiculous. Some dudes are running 40s. I ain't doing that.
Isn't that what he's going to do, is put 40s as well?
Probably. Yeah. And when we go wheeling with him, he's mental. He is pedaled down all the time. I crawl, man.
Yeah.
Because I want to make it back to the East Coast or wherever I'm going afterwards. I don't, he's kind of crazy. He's really crazy. I mean, he spends 3 months dialing in the suspension so that he can jump over stuff and such. I ain't jumping, bro. I'm good. He's still young, man. He climbs mountains for fun. He flies. He flew out here and then flew back. He climbed Mount Washington in the winter. That's insane. I ain't doing that.
I saw that, and I remember. So everybody, we're talking about Sandy Katz. He's in Southern California, 4Runner. He's got now we'll put links down when this eventually makes it to YouTube. He makes a awesome water can pump system. He makes a kinetic rope, which he tested himself, wrapped around a tree, was in a Cadillac Escalade, and accelerated.
Dude, who does that with an Escalade? His wife's Escalade.
I'm surprised he didn't split the car in two, like the frame stuck and then the whole body fly forward. But he's got great equipment and a DIYer, right?
Yeah,
he does it himself. He makes it for himself. People want it, and then he's like, okay, damn it, I guess I'll start making this for others, and a business is born. So that's kind of He doesn't build it to make money. He builds it for himself, and then I guess happenstance makes some money by selling, and satisfying the market.
Something like that.
Yeah.
He's working on a rooftop tent. I think it's already out. I think it's out there. I'm not revealing anything.
Almost. Yeah, almost.
But you can make the rooftop tent. It's a hard shell rooftop tent that you can make any size you want yourself. I've never heard of such a thing, but I've seen it. I've seen, he's really doing it. It's I would have loved that, man. You can set it up so there's either no overhang. You can set it up for 2 people. I mean, that's badass. It's a great idea.
And he's making it for what, sub 2K or right around 2K, not 4 or 5K like all the other guys.
He's going right to the source. He's flying out to these countries where they're making the fabric, where they're making the foam, where they're making everything, He's from Ukraine, so they don't mess around.
Yeah.
Ask Russia.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah. No, that's cool. So we'll stay tuned. Follow, subscribe to Richie's channel or my channel. We'll both be posting stuff when you'll see his 4Runner, Richie's 4Runner. Maybe I'll have to break out the FJ40 to even compete.
No, I like your 80. An 80 will do it. Any one of your rigs will do it all day, every day. No problem. Yeah, you make wise purchases, I think.
And I was telling you, because I remember when right before you got that 4Runner, or I saw in one of your videos, you were contemplating a 200 series. Because isn't there some 200 series parts that you put on to a 4Runner? I didn't put a 200 series steering rack. I put a Tundra steering rack, which is even crazier. But the guys that did it messed up and they installed a 200 series rack because you can do that. It's just a bigger, beefier Land Cruiser rack. Any Land Cruiser parts I can put on a 4Runner, I'm putting on a 4Runner. You know what I mean? Just that's all there is to it. Yeah. Yeah.
But it didn't work out. So it had to be changed out. So I got a Tundra rack in the front. This truck is it's as legit as you can possibly make it, right down to the Dana 60, man. Not too many people are rolling with a Dana 60 in the rear end of their 5th gen 4Runner.
Nice.
So
I don't know if you see on the screen, I'm pulling up the Land Cruiser. It was on Bring a Trailer. I've bought from Bring a Trailer once. My Black Mamba. I have to name the trucks right, so I know who's who. Black Mamba, which is the 80 diesel. Maybe when you come out, I'll bring that one out, Richie. So it's 1996 right-hand drive diesel, the 24 valves, so the coveted Japanese diesel one, or the Australians who've discovered diesel love them, and they love diesel. When it comes to the 80 series, they love in Down Under, they love the diesel before they like the FCJ for the most part.
Absolutely. Well, but if we had diesel, I'd have a diesel, man. You know what I mean? Yeah. I was this close. For the amount of money, I mean, there's probably 200,000 in this 4Runner, easy, and I did all the work except for one shop, and then I ended up doing all the work over again. But whatever. I was looking at them, and I just couldn't wrap my head around ordering it, have it coming across the water, and land a right-hand drive, which I've never driven. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I just snapped decision and got the 4Runner, but. After meeting you, and you're like, dude, as soon as you drive it, you can drive it all day, no problem. I didn't think it was going to be like that, man. So,
in fact, I like the variety. And
obviously,
I like right-hand drive. To be honest, I'm wondering if I like it equal or maybe slightly better. But what would be a trip is if you're in England and you have to be on the left-hand side of the road. That to me is a trip, but. Right-hand drive on the proper side that we're used to here and in most parts of the world, not a problem.
I'm just thinking about how many trails I would prefer a right-hand drive where these are trails that most people don't do, but if you screw up on these trails, you're going over. Yeah, a right-hand drive would be advantageous. You know what at a lot of places. I really started thinking about it after I saw your rig.
Absolutely. You're 100% right. Sometimes the right-hand drive, you're right up against the rock wall, so you can see to get as close as possible, and you're not freaking out by seeing the edge that you can follow.
Plus my 240 pound frame is on the right side for once, you know?
Yeah.
A couple of times when the wheels started coming off the ground, I'm driving and I'm leaning over while flying a drone. Not a good scenario. And the footage never comes out right, man.
Well, check this out. You might shit yourself. Anybody watching this 200 series was on Bring a Trailer. It ended yesterday, Wednesday. So this is yesterday. Well, before I tell the price, and some people can see it on the screen, but it's a 2016. That's when they did the facelift, right? Where it went from 6-speed to 8-speed, but same 5.7 V8 engine. And as we know, the new 300s, which we don't have here in the US, but the sister, the LX 600 is a V6 twin turbo, not the V8. So jury's out. We'll see what the results are after a couple of years on that in a heavy Land Cruiser. But so this one, V8, 2016, built to the nines. So your buddy Christo in Colorado put the sleeve bumper, the sleeve slides, along LCA tank, so the long range, or RLRA, long range America.
They gave me footage of that before anybody saw it and said, you can run this after this particular show. They had to go to a show where they revealed the truck first. They did not want me blowing it up on YouTube ahead of time, and I lost the footage. Oh, I didn't lose the footage.
Range? Do you have a long range in one of the rigs?
No, I don't. I got it on. Okay. I got it from their trucks. I was at their shop when they were doing this. I got all the footage as they were doing it. And they just said you can use it, but you got to wait till we reveal the truck first.
Yeah.
And Armory, the kid that works in I think he's the general manager or whatever. I got 0 audio. So I've got 2 hours. Oh, dude, 2 hours of footage with no audio. So speaking of that,
damn.
Yeah.
So see in the back, and I guess Christo now reps the Icon wheels. I've got a set of those bronze ones on my daughter's. Well, my truck. My daughter is going to claim it for herself at some point.
Best father in the world. World's best father.
HJ61. So she has those wheels in the HJ61. So they're cool. But this Land Cruiser, okay. It does have 89,000 miles, which everybody knows is nothing.
It's brand new.
Fully built. So about 30 grand worth of extras done at SLE, Icon, stage 3 suspension, lower control arms, all the goodies, everything SLE you can pretty much slap on one of these rigs. I was getting my annual physical, Richie. I'm driving there, and you know how Bring a Trailer works. It has a 2-minute, so there's no sniping at the end of a auction like you can do in eBay. Just like throw your bid with 10 seconds left and hope the timing's perfect. It renews 2 minutes, and then everybody's got 2 minutes. Going once, going twice. Someone else bids, renews for 2 minutes, and this can go on and on for hours, pretty much, if people keep bidding. So I waited. Like I knew this was going to go up over 70. I waited. And I'm at the doctor's office now, and doctor comes in. So I throw my last bid, and I bid, I'll bring it up on the screen. I bid 71 grand on this thing. And I'm like, if I get this for 71, it's crazy. And literally at the same, Bring a Trailer at the end when the 2-minute expires. And I did my bid with like 5 seconds left. And I'm like, no one else is bidding. This is it. This is the go price. I put it in, my doctor walks in, I had to put the phone in my pocket. So my doctor's, asking me all the questions. I'm like, hurry up, doc, hurry up in my mind. He finally leaves, but I have to stay for the EKG from the nurse. But it gives me 3 minutes before she comes in. So I check and it says, calculating bids. It's because it means it's at the very end. I'm like, oh shit, I think I just bought this. She comes in, I got to put my phone away. So I finally finished my doctor's appointment. I get out. I'm in the parking lot and I'm looking, I'm in the parking lot. The second I got out of the doctor's office, I'm looking on my phone, and this guy outbid me by $500. So I think we both did our bids at the very last second. And he was $500 more than me. So he bought that rig for $71,500. If you think about it, easily 30 grand, not done 10 years ago, done, or 5 years ago, done within the last 12 months. All
What
that
year
gear.
was it?
It's a 2016. But
So I paid $63,000 for a 2019 4Runner. That's ridiculous. That's crazy.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
Fully built out. But you had less miles. This has 89,000.
Yeah, but in Land Cruiser miles, totally different. I mean, I've got the good 4.0, but Land Cruisers are Land Cruisers, man. Especially at 200. I drove my buddy Matt's in Virginia's. That motor makes a supercharger look like nothing. They're just sick.
Full power and 0 to 60 in like 7 seconds with the 6-speed, because I got a 2008 with the 6-speed. This became, fractions of a second slightly slower because it's an 8-speed, so more gears to go through. But yeah, what a killer price, 71.5. And if you found one for, like, let's say, because 30 grand, if you found one for 42 grand and could spend all that time waiting for it to be built up. Like, I mean, this is like valet delivered to you, like white glove treatment. Here is an
hand-picked parts by Christo. That's the shit, dude. The Godfather himself's decorating your truck.
Yep.
Oh, that's too bad. Exactly. I know you're on it again. I know you'll have one in the next month or so anyways.
I'm looking. I'm actually selling right now my wife's LX 570. We had it new since 2008. It's got 250,000 miles. And you know what I did to that truck during all that time? Always dealer serviced until, I just found like a Land Cruiser guy. I did all my oil changes actually always at Toyota because they're just same oil, cheaper than Lexus. I did oil changes, brake pads, because the 200 series is hungry for those front brake pads. It's always changing those. Rotors at some point, and tires. That's it. That's all I ever had to do to that rig.
Wow.
250,000 miles. So reliable, still purring like a kitten. And I finally just switched over to synthetic because the manufacturer said in 2008, just, oil. And then in 2010, they started saying synthetic. So I just kept to the manual, but I changed my oil every 5,000 miles. So that's maybe
me too.
Maybe why. So I'm selling her truck, and I haven't posted it yet. I got to clean it up. There's a little rip in the seat, stitch that, but it served us well. And I just felt time. She drove it from 2008 till now, and I asked her, "Do you want a new car?" She's like, "No." I'm like, "You're so happy with it?" She's like, "Yep."
Meanwhile, you're stockpiling Land Cruisers like you're supplying the Taliban, and she's driving the same one from 2008. Beautiful. That's a good marriage. World's best dad, man. World's best wife. Nice. Nice.
Classic. But all to say that truck, a 200 series, holy cow, they build them. They build them well. There's some more eye candy of that sleeve rear bumper.
I can't see this. I don't know whether you're posting these.
It's gonna be it's on the Zoom call. I don't know why it doesn't show. I think you're gonna see this when the video goes live. It's okay, on my screen.
I'm just telling you in case it's foobar on your end, but I can see you no problem.
Yeah, you know what I'm gonna do, just to be sure, I'm gonna start a side recording on my phone. Hang on, I'm glad you told me that, because still trying to figure out this whole, here we go, screen record.
Oh, this is podcast number 4, man. By podcast 12, you'll be good to go.
It might take me that long.
Dude, I've done 2,000 something live streams over the years, and it took me a good year to figure out how to use Skype, just because I'm always in a rush. I come in, hit it up. Oh, great, I got no audio. We did the same thing with this. But
yeah, so I'll have it up on the screen now. So there'll be some eye candy. But yeah, that's saving to my phone. I'll just merge the two together. But yeah, we'll get off that 200 talk. So, but just great truck, and I think there's deals out there, but it's not every day you come across one that's fully built, ready to go.
When I was getting ready to pull the trigger on the 4Runner, My buddy's a Toyota Master Tech, and he's got a stable, not like yours. No one has one like yours, except maybe Last Line of Defense. He's getting a little wacky. He's getting crazy. Now he's getting Toyota race cars. You noticing that?
Yeah, I saw that.
He's making his subscribers mad because they think he's flaunting it. I've talked to a bunch of people, and I'm like, Mike's a genuinely good dude, man. He's not rubbing anybody's face in it. He's been on YouTube a long time, and he played the game right, unlike myself. You know,
if he got that sports car and hid it behind the house and never shared it, and then someone caught a video of like, "Hey, look, here's LLOD rocking this car," then I'd be upset. I'm like, "No, man, hey, share it." He's sharing everything, you know, the good, the bad, the ugly, but it's mostly the good. Why not? You know?
Yeah. You know,
I think it's cool.
You know what would be nice, dude, is if. When I head back out, I'm probably going to be out on the road for like 5 to 6 months again. I'm looking at the clock for whatever reason. I don't know why. There's no bearing on the calendar, but I'd love to get you to take one of your rigs out to Ouray, Colorado, Imogene Pass. And dude, I know that place like the back of my hand. I was in a Toyota dealership in Colorado waiting for parts. I turn around and they got a huge widescreen, and I'm like, that truck looks it. And I'm like, wait a minute, that's my 80 series. I'm like, are you kidding me? They're like, yeah, we run them on a loop. I know Ouray, man. You'll get sick footage and you'll have a killer time.
I saw your video on that. Yeah, and Colorado's not such a bad drive for me to get out there. I think
I don't have any idea. Is it a long drive?
16 hours, maybe.
Well, if we were to do that, I would come to you, and then we'd follow each other out. That way, because I know you're going to bring an older Land Cruiser with you. I'll follow you out just in case there's any mechanical issues or whatever.
Yeah,
and see if we can get Oleg to go.
Oh, he'd be down. You know, he'd be down.
He's down, dude. He's down. That kid's crazy, man. Climbing Mount Washington in the winter, dude. It's nothing but ice. That's a lot of balls, man.
Oh, yeah, I was going to add to that. I talked to him a week after that because I knew he went out there, and I saw on the news that it was minus 60.
Yeah, I'm not doing that, dude. The top of Mount Washington, where he was climbing to, they have weather station buildings the size of, ranch homes, chained to the ground with chains like a battleship anchor that has still been blown off. And this kid's climbing it in the winter.
Yeah. I think it was
four-wheel low.
It was uninhabitable the week after he was there. Like, again, I'm venturing to say minus 70, if that's even. It was a record, though. Whatever temperature it was a record this year where, forget it. If he
flies out from California to the coldest place in the United States currently, and then gets out and climbs. He said, I would have got footage, he said, but I could not take my gloves off even for a moment to hit the power button. Plus, the GoPros wouldn't have worked anyways. No way.
Yeah.
No way.
And when you say that, he obviously has the best of the best gear, because I think he does like survival training in mountains and all that.
He's SAR. He's search and rescue. I was too for a while out here, but I'm not recertified. But he's search and rescue. So
got it.
That's his thing.
Crazy.
Yep.
I should have him on as a guest one day on the show.
Yeah, absolutely. He'd love that. And you know what? You wouldn't have to say a word. He'd fill an hour, no problem. Just say to him, suspension, and then just sit back or leave and just come back in an hour and he'll still be going.
Or if the three of us go out somewhere, we'll hook up your Starlink and we'll just do a live around the campfire, just talking adventures.
Dude, I've carried that. I'm looking at it right now. It's in my kitchen. I've paid Starlink the monthly fee, I think, like 10 or 12 times, and I've never once used it. I haven't even set it up yet. I told Mike from Last Line of Defense when he did the original walk around on my video, the other walk around, because there's only two.
Yeah,
and
I saw that.
I said, I'll review it so you know what's up. And I still haven't used it. He ended up buying one and reviewing it. They're supposed to be the shit. I wanted to be able to do a podcast or live stream or upload a real video from my editing suite on the road. And it just ain't happening because it still can't do that.
Yeah.
So that's kind of lame.
There's a cool case. I just got one. You should reach out to them. Radius Outfitters. And I'm thinking about it because they have or no, who's making it? You can put a Starlink. I think Roam Cases made a case for the Starlink.
Well, I got the case right here. This Pelican Air case, I just simply measured it. It fits exactly the Starlink, nothing more, nothing less, and it doesn't weigh anything. It's all in one Pelican case.
Okay. I
mean, it fits the entire setup completely. No, you can't put anything else in. It's like a plan, man. I never did a video on it because I'm lazy. I'm not lazy, but I've been working on my truck in my driveway for 3 months. I've changed a lot of stuff on it since you saw it last. It's got a lot of lights, a lot of Baja design. I'm talking to you. Fellas, send me a sticker. Send me an ice cream. Send me anything.
You're not sponsored by Baja Design?
Negative.
Wow.
I'm not sponsored by most big companies because I have a name. I'm known for putting people on quote unquote blast. Because if they sell me something wrong, and it fails and they don't cover it, then they're going to have an issue. Because, oh, you were off-roading? Really? I just pulled my 80 series in. You took pictures of it. You don't think I off-road? Yeah. How can you look at the 80 and not? I mean, that's all it was made for. Driving it on the highway was a trip, man. But that truck wheeled, man, a lot. And I had that.
I got it up on the
times.
I got the Ouray Poughkeepsie Gulch video up, and just a screenshot of your 80 with some beautiful backdrop.
When I jumped it, I couldn't actually crawl the wall at Poughkeepsie Gulch, so I just backed up and jumped it. And when it hit, when I finally got to the top and that thing hit, all I did was get out. Nobody's around, and I looked underneath, figuring what did I break and how bad is it leaking. There were no issues. Thing was a tank, man.
Bump it. Sometimes you just gotta bump it.
Give it a little Tennessee bump. Last time someone told me to bump it, I tipped it over in Moab. Boom. Stood it back up. Kept going.
Wow. That's my fear. I mean, I guess that's everybody's fear
but yours are beautiful. That's your whole thing. And I mean, you took it down, Big Bear. You put it at risk. You wheel. So can't say shit about it, man. I've already told 200 people that. So
yeah. No, an 80 with 35s will do it. 37s preferably.
80 with 35s and a 3-inch lift will do anything with the rear locker. If you got a front locker, it'll do anything and more. But I mean, that's all you ever needed. I just went overboard because I do that.
So now that you've done your dual transfer case and you're saying second time, just blood, sweat, grease, and tears.
Tears, man. Yeah.
In a Boston winter, in a driveway. Oh my God.
I'm 55 years old, dude. I'm getting down on the hot top. I'm getting up. I'm getting down. The second you get under the truck, you forgot something. Every single time. And I do everything alone. But it leaked. I put ultraviolet dye in my transfer cases to finally see where the leak was coming from. And I put a UV light on it at night. It looked like a Pink Floyd Velvet poster. It was just lit up everywhere.
It looked like Niagara Falls, and they lit it up with purple light for
it was horrible, dude. I drove from your house to my house, and I didn't have any gear oil in my brand spanking new transfer case. When I drained it, it was empty.
Oh God!
If I ever engaged that thing, it would have been catastrophic. I don't know how many things would have broke, but it would have. Fortunately, I didn't use it. You don't really need dual transfer cases. I just have it because nobody else did. Oleg's going to do it. So
explain that dual transfer cases. So most people understand you got your high and your low. Your low to crawl, your high to not crawl. Sometimes you get a granny gear, depending. What's the dual?
Dual cases. So this is a Toyota 4Runner. I got a 2019 TRD Pro for a reason. I didn't want the little key fob because where I live, people are notorious for driving around with those receivers, catching your key fob code and taking your car. So I wanted a key, and that's what I got. And I also wanted a shifter. I didn't want the electronic fly-by-wire transfer case. I didn't want it. 2019 TRD Pro fit the bill. Really hard to come by. But I found one in North Carolina with 17,000 original miles and went from there. The dual transfer case in your Land Cruiser, your low, four-wheel low, is totally different than a 4Runner's four-wheel low. Four-wheel low, I was in low. This is why I did duals. I was in low at the very top of Imogene Pass, 12,800 feet coming down. You should be in low gear, and the truck just does its own thing. You don't have to give it gas, nothing. It's doing 5.
Yeah.
My 4Runner was doing 23. It was running away on me.
Scary.
So I re-geared it one last time, and then I discovered that you can put dual cases in it. And the shop wanted to put a trail gear in. I'm not a big fan of trail gear, and I certainly wouldn't put a trail gear transfer case in my truck. Marlin Crawler had one. I drove to their shop and picked it up myself. And I asked the guys that installed it, have you done this before? Oh, we've done, dude. Oh, come on. We've done. Yeah, no, they had. They didn't even put an oil slinger in it, which is what main cause of the problem. All the fluid was coming right out of the top. But with dual transfer cases and the proper gears in your front and rear differentials, you can literally put this thing in 4-wheel low now, and it will either climb an incline by itself without you even being in it, or come down a ridiculous incline by itself without you even being in it. It does about 3 miles an hour. There's a kid out your way, 4TR AMG, I think, an Asian kid, and he's got dual cases and 40s on his truck, and he did the Rubicon. He did Soup Bowl, no problem, didn't break anything. It just crawls, man, like the Terminator.
I have in my FJ40, I have an Atlas. So I could put it in low and get out of the car while it's going down a gnarly trail.
You bet.
Go take a leak. It's just crawling, walk beside it, climb back in.
That's what dual cases do for me. But I didn't know you had a 40 with a Atlas box. That's a unicorn, brother.
Yeah.
You got a lot of unicorns, man. That's kind of creepy.
That FJ40 is the one where so we were talking about this pre-call about Jeeps temporarily. And so when I go crawl, my buddies, except for one other guy who's got a 40, my buddies all have Jeeps. I mean, one Gladiator that before they came up with the 392, this guy put in a Hemi. It's 750 horsepower. He's on 43-inch tires. And even with that truck out in Doozy Ursham, which is the Sierra Mountains.
I've done it. I did it my 80 series. Yep.
That 33 miles, you're at 11,000 feet. He pierced his transmission case on Thompson Hill, where it's just all boulders forever going up. We had to do a JB weld, and everybody had to donate fluids, anything with viscosity. And it didn't matter. Wow. Everybody donated fluids, and he put it in the rig and still got another 20 miles down the road because you had to. We were in the middle of freaking Doozy Ursham, 33 miles. So I wheel with those guys, and I take my 40, which is on 40-inch Trepadors, a 5.7 Vortec.
Dude,
engine.
You're on Trepadors?
On that one, yep.
Those are sick. That's what all of Australia uses.
Well, and case in point for the Treps, not that either anybody's sponsored by them, but they make great tires. My buddy on his 40, same thing, a 5.7 Vortec, and same transfer case, all that good stuff. That's how you build a 40 out. He just was spinning over at KOH that we were talking about earlier, Johnson Valley, on Blueberry, just spinning and not getting through a couple of these obstacles. He was so pissed. So he got some Trepadors, and you can air those down to 5 PSI, and it still has a wall. It doesn't
that's
even
what
stroke.
As I was saying, I can't believe you have Trepadors. I was going to say, can you even air those down? The sidewall is so stiff. They just stay.
Yep.
And they're ultra sticky, man. Teeth for days, unlike me.
And so when you go down to 5, you're right. That sidewall is super stiff. But as soon as you hit a big boulder, that's where you get to see some of the play, and it wraps around it a bit. And I was in Arizona like 3 weeks ago, did some crazy trails. People just really don't know about these trails. You got to know a local that bring you out to them near Lake Havasu. Beautiful, beautiful Arizona landscape, red rock, all that, kind of like Sedona-ish a bit.
Wow.
And so he had his Trepadors on his 40. I didn't bring my 40 on this trip, but anyhow, I was doing more video and riding shotgun and spotting. But he just crawled up everything. He was so happy. He's like, the Trepadors make it's such a key component to the crawling equipment you put on
without
your vehicle.
a doubt.
Yeah,
I was going to put Trepadors on my 80 series, but I couldn't because the mud grapplers, as loud as they were phenomenal in every ice, snow, mud, everything, slick rock, everything. But I still had to change them every 10,000. Trepadors, you'd be changing them with the amount of highway I do. I'd be changing them every 2,500.
Oh yeah,
destroy them. But it's sick, dude.
It's a trail. Yeah, it gives such a cool, aggressive look. It's like you got to trail the rig. You got to tow it to different places if you're going treps. But there's also Trepador stickies and then the non-stickies. These are the stickies. They don't last. They last like 2,000 miles, like you say. The other ones will last maybe 10. And the thing is this, on the non-sticky ones, or maybe both, the more they're chunked up and destroyed, the better they become. Yep. They just will grab anything.
They're the John Jones or Chuck Liddell of tires. The more you beat them up, the worse they get, you know?
That's a good analogy. So true. Yeah, but yeah, like you say, if you're going cross country, that's the least practical tire ever. You'd have to have shops, you know, you stop in Colorado, put new tires on. It just wouldn't make any economical sense.
The 80 was, I built it to the point where it was not quite as comfortable as you would imagine. I put an entirely new Toyota air conditioning system in it. Everything, all the parts. I did it in my driveway. I charged it up and everything, and I rarely put my AC on because it robs so much power from the poor thing, especially out your way where you're at altitude many times. Yeah. Supercharger in an 80 series does nothing at altitude. It just doesn't do anything. Supercharger in the 4Runner still works, you know? Interesting. I almost bought an 80. I almost bought an 80 with a supercharger, and I think I spoke to you, or when we wheeled, and you said it does nothing at altitude. So I was like, all right, why get a supercharger? 4,000 feet, you lose 50%. 10,000 feet, you lose it all, and you have to run super unleaded, or it turns into a giant popcorn machine. That's not just a recommendation. They suck on low octane. Got it. But it was sick. Sick. You put a Magnuson in your 4Runner. I did. Yeah. Okay. And I rebuilt the supercharger in my Land Cruiser, and I never even assembled one before. I pulled it out. I even did a video on how to do it because everybody wanted you to mail them. Oh, you want me to rebuild it for you? Because you got to rebuild them every 50 to 75,000, I think. I rebuilt everything. I want everything new. I don't want the truck squeaking, rattling, etc. But the supercharger in the Land Cruiser 80, it's okay. It's all right. I would definitely do it if I bought an 80. I would, and I didn't put a turbo, or it wasn't one like yours. I would definitely supercharge it. Yeah, they're easy to rebuild. That's what's interesting. If on the 80s that the diesel ones they have in Australia, they tune the shit out of those. Hell yeah! But they can't modify like we do. Ronnie Dahl I was hanging out with Ronnie in Moab and then in Flagstaff at an Overland Expo in 2019, and he loved my truck. And he said, "Dude, we can't do this back home at all. The laws are against it, and they're serious. They're serious." Yeah. So they have a lot of impact, like bumper rules and height and stuff. Engine, I'm not sure. I think because they do a lot of turbo. There's a lot of turbo companies, and they just getting the black smoke doing Perth all that. Diesel, man, Perth Diesel. They're no joke. Yeah, I'm just scared if I did stuff to my diesel here. There's just not the support, the mechanical know-how and labor support. Chances are, if I know you. Yours are all factory Toyota. That's what you want to stick with anyways, as far as turbo, etc.
Yeah. Yeah.
Plus, you're
they
not trying
are,
to
yeah.
pull 0 to 60s in it, not on 37s or 40s. That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. True. No, when I noticed the FZJ stock, well, when I say stock, on 35s lifted, so not stock, but no gearing, is slow going up a big grade. The diesel on 35s, not geared, going up big grades, would just hold it at 2,000 RPMs and just truck along without any mod. So that diesel is
your other turbo diesel, the one I did the walk around video on. You were blowing down the highway like nothing, man. My 80 never would have been able to keep up with you. Not even at all.
Yeah, and that's on 37s, not re-geared.
You don't have to remind me. I'm well aware. The thing is, I love that truck.
Truth be known, when I went to Tucson to register, because so everybody knows, these diesels, California don't want them. You got to register out of state. So there's some big grades to get through, and in that truck, it was 100 degrees out too, or 110. Oh my God, I was putting that truck through hell. And I was with all the big rigs, going up a big grade to the right with the hazards on, going super slow because that's all she could give. But we were driving coastal. As soon as I got back in California, Godzilla, which is the 73 series, was just loving life again. Could breathe. It was 70 degrees and we're at sea level pretty much, or 500 feet. But going up some big grades at 110 degrees, oh my God, forget it.
I got you. I hear you.
Yeah.
Hey, talk to your audience for a sec. I'll be back in 32 seconds.
Okay, you got it. Absolutely.
Oh.
No, so again, Richie, known also Richie from Boston. He's in Boston, hence that green monster truck. You got to give him a follow because his adventures are more than trucks. He's a bird fan. We'll talk about that here next when he gets back. Loves owls, I guess, just because when he gets to the West Coast, he's hitting some like abandoned barns is like a magnet for him. Abandoned barn, he'll pull over, get his camera gear out, and go searching for wildlife. So that's what a lot of his channel has. Richie, I'm just sharing. I said when you're out on your adventures, again, you really timetable. You don't necessarily have to be at an exact spot in an exact time. So you see to the left, abandoned barn. You're like, I got to go check that out. What's lurking in that barn, right? You're always looking for that, like
gateway to hell. The gateway I stumbled on in Two Guns, Arizona. I'm 200 feet underground in this massive, massive cave that was the site of a horrific murder of a whole tribe of Indians. So I had no idea till after the fact, but it's called the Gateway to Hell. I find stuff like that all the time. That is what's nice about being on no schedule.
I watched one of your videos about, it was like horse races, and they a bunch of people got poisoned from
999 people are allegedly poisoned. It's a crazy story. Crazy story. The government don't talk about it, but the people that live there do.
Yeah, dude, you had me like on the edge of my seat. Like this is way better than Dateline on Friday nights or anything. Like it was just like well told, and you.
Thanks, I appreciate.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's like, how do I best say it? When I was young, I went on vacation. We're in I don't know, Puerto Vallarta, and there's all the touristy things that. And I'll equate this to overlanding, like all the big trails that people do. Everybody knows Rubicon and Moab, but there's tons more trails, the unbeaten path. So when I was on vacation, we went and rented horses, and then we went into the back areas of Puerto Vallarta where you saw the locals and the kids all barefoot. And we stopped at a store, and I tied up the horse because I'm like, I got to buy some Marlboros and live the moment. I'm the Marlboro man. I'm 18 years old. And that was my favorite part of the vacation, was seeing the real life behind the scenes that nobody sees. That's off the tourist trail, and that's kind of
crazy.
Yeah. That's kind of like you, right? Like you're off wheeling, you're staying in places by yourself, which 99% of people would be way too scared to do. And then you're like adventuring into these abandoned places with video camera in hand and capturing stuff that's like phenomenal.
I try. I always bring a first aid kit because I bleed a lot somehow. Every time I turn around, I'm bleeding. So
you find all the sharp cactus.
I do. They find those hopping, jumping cactus or whatever they're called. That's a real thing. That sucks. So after I saw you, I went to the Cave Creek, Arizona, and I wheeled the truck, and I got caught in a storm in the desert. And trucks and side-by-sides were off the road absolutely everywhere. And I'm just trucking. I'm out of here. I was covered with mud. Truck weighed about 400, 500 pounds extra mud. The desert turns into mud when you add water, you know?
Yeah.
I was there just at the right time. So,
or like muddy clay, like you say, like it sticks.
Oh, yes.
Well, my 80 series that I bought, that I call it Otis, that I went out with you and Oleg, that was an Arizona truck. And when I got it, it took me about 8 washes to get all the red clay off the underside.
It never comes off. It's like herpes.
It was caked.
It's like herpes,
when I say
I'm guessing.
Yeah, I don't mean with water and soap. I mean, I got underneath like with a chisel. I got right down finally to a razor blade. That's how I love my Land Cruisers. I want the underneath to look as good as the top. Even though I go wheel it and get it all dirty again. I got right down to the frame finally, and I'm like, what the hell do they have here in Arizona that just cakes on there?
I've come home from Utah. That's a long drive, 2,300 miles, and still had red dirt dumping in my driveway months and months later. It just doesn't come off. Hence the website, I Hate Mud. You know what I mean? So. It
finds all the nooks and crannies, that's for sure. And some people, like, if you're buying a truck that's from Arizona, like, hey, send me some pictures of the underside, the undercarriage. They think it's rust because it's reddish, you know, but no, that's good old mud in Arizona.
How long do you go for in these podcasts?
I think we're gonna wrap it up soon, about an hour.
All right, because we're at an hour. I got 2 things I got to do before I hit the rack. It's late out here.
No, I hear you. We're gonna wrap it up, and dude, you and I we could go on for 3 hours. Really, it's just like so much to talk about.
You could, but today I got my dual transfer cases in. That was occupying all my mind, man. I got it done like 20 minutes to spare to sit down with you. So,
yeah. No, we'll wrap it up, Richie. And I'm just looking at my clock now. My little reminder's coming up. It's 6 o'clock here in Pacific, so 9 for you. But we'll have to do this again because there's still more to talk about. And I really didn't want to.
No, that's not an issue. I plan on seeing you in 2 weeks. That's my intent.
Awesome. Put the word out to Oleg to get his truck. He's got 2 weeks now to get her finished.
I just sent him a bunch of RCV boots for his independent front suspension. Another lovely thing you don't have to deal with straight axles is those boots.
Yeah.
$3,000 RCV performance axles, and the boots just leak all your grease out constantly. So I put those on myself while I was here. And I ordered some from Australia and didn't use them and sent them to Oleg just yesterday. So.
Damn. Nice. Well, cool, brother. I appreciate,
anytime, man. Anytime. And like I said, my intent is to be out there for Cars and Coffee in 2 weeks. If the creek don't rise and the good Lord's willing. So.
Okay. I'll keep my eye out for Yoda nights, because that's the other one you got to go to, which is Cars and Coffee, but all Yodas. So that's cool. I'm stoked for it, man. Yeah. All right, brother. Awesome. Well, good luck finalizing your dual transfer case, and we'll be in touch. I'll keep you posted. No pun intended. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. All right, man. Good stuff. I am out. Thank you. Give us one of those. Yeah, you take it out. I am out. I am out. Later, brother. All right. Later. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. This will be made available on YouTube soon. And we'll have to do it again with Richie. He's again, like I said, he is the adventurous, overlanding, real deal, and does it on his own. So it's too cool. All right. Thanks, everybody. Enjoy your evenings, and happy trails.